Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. We can now move on to reading the text. I can start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jalam Udirati Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text 40. Tvam api abhadrastruta vishtrunam vibho sampatya yena vidam bubhushitam rakhyam dukher muhur ardita manam sanklesha nirvanam ushanti nanyatha. Hare Krishna. Arya Govind Prabhuji, would you like to read the shlokas so we can get the right meaning?
Okay,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
We'll read one line, we can repeat after you.
Okay. Tvamapi abhadrashuta vishrutam vibho
Tvam api abhadra shruta vishrutam vibho
samapyate yena vidam babutsitam
samatyate vena vidham bubhutshitam
prakyahi dukhair muhur arditatmanam
prakyahi dukhur muhur aditmanam
sanklesha nirvanam ushanti nanyatha.
Sanklesha nirvayam ushanti nanyatha. We'll do the word-to-word translation. Oh, Mataji has just joined us. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances.
Dandavat Pranam,
On behalf,
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Danvat Pranam Mataji, on behalf of everybody who have joined the group and are about to join Mataji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, and the text is text 40 today. Mataji, we've done the Manglacharan and we were just reading the text 40, and we hand over to you now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. If you don't mind, in 3 minutes, I'll just go and quickly turn off the cooker. So I'll just finish my prayers, Mataji. Om Ajnanathimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschalta Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srinivata Swagata Krishna Punya Shramana Kirtanaha Hridayantastoti Avatrani Vidunoti Sugritsatam Nashta Prayeshu Upatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhakti Bhati Naishtiki Hare Krishna Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I think it's better for us to get started. Maybe I'll quickly turn off the gas stove and come. Hare Krishna. I'm really sorry, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna, no problem, Mataji. We can read the word to word till then. Tvam, your good soul. He also. Abhadra, vast. Shruta, Vedic literatures. Vishrutam, have heard also. Vibhoha, of the Almighty. Samapyate, satisfied. Yena, by which. Vidam, of the learned. Bubukshitam, who always desires to learn transcendental knowledge. Rakyai, describe. Dukkhai, by miseries. Muhu, always. Ardita Atmanam, suffering mass of people. Sanklesha, sufferings. Nirvanam, mitigation. Ushantina, do not get out of. Anyatha, by other means. Hare Krishna. Mataji, are you back?
Yes, Mataji. I'm back. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We will get started with today's verse. And first of all, I want to pay my humble obeisances to all of you on the call so that I'm able to speak the relevant words of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. I seek your blessings. All right. So usually my son takes care of the cooking chores, if any, and so he's gone out of town. Definitely would miss association. He's very, very helpful in the kitchen. I think it's a boon for me because whenever I want something done in the kitchen, he's always there and ready to do next, what next kind of person. Especially boys, I don't know, most of them are not inclined, but he's I think an exception. I hope that lasts. All right, so let's get started. This being the last verse, I thought I can give you an entire overview of the chapter so that you can just understand the, I'm glad that it came to me because obviously I always look at the broad picture and I would want to understand and dissect so that we get the overall picture. So what I would do is you can go through all the verses in sequence and then I kind of like a summary. And then we will go to today's verse, if that's okay with all of you. All right, so I'll be looking at the book and trying to explain you. So please bear with me. All right, so the first 4 verses, as we know, Narada is inquiring about Vyasadev's despondency. So Narada was comfortably seated and he addressed Vyasadeva very smilingly because he knows what is the cause for Vyasadev's despondency. And that's why Narada was smiling. And then he's asking, Narada, are you satisfied by identifying the body and mind to be the self? Again, So what was the purpose of this question was, this was a hint by Narada regarding the cause of Vyasadev's despondency. And again, because he understands Vyasadev's despondency is not due to the lack of knowledge. So this is very important. And he says, your inquiries and studies are complete. You wrote the most wonderful Mahabharata and you elaborated everything, explaining all the Vedic instructions with regards to it in Mahabharata. So this is another point, because again, Narada is wanting to prove the point that his despondency is not due to the lack of his realized knowledge. Okay. Now, what is the reason for his despondency? He says, you have fully deliberated and realized the subject of the impersonal Brahman. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this? See, such a big literature is Mahabharata, and you have composed such a big literature. And what is the reason? See, for a person, if he's going to just create a poem or something which is 2 lines, he feels so proud of his achievement. Yes, I have achieved a big deal. See, look at my poem, how nice it is. How many how it flows. Look at the words, look at the rhythm, how nice it is. Like that we say, isn't it? But with regards to Vyasadev, Mahabharata is such a huge literature, and he composed that. And Narada is very much pointing out to the fact that, yeah, Vyasadev, you composed such a big literature, then what is the reason for your despondency? And Vyasadev requests Narada to find his deficiency. See, here is a very important point. The spiritual master is Narada, isn't it? And Vyasadev is requesting his spiritual master, Narada, to find his deficiency. What is this deficiency? And then he says, Vyasadeva is now responding to Narada's inquiries from previous verses. So 5 to 7 is Vyasadev's response to Narada's queries. You're correct. Therefore, I ask you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. You're right in identifying I'm despondent. But now you have to tell me, what is the root cause? Despite all my qualification, you're a man of unlimited knowledge. And being the son of Brahma, you can actually tell me what is the reason for my dissatisfaction. You know everything. He's now saying, Narada, you are Veda Amasta Guhyam. You are mysterious. Since you worship the Lord who is the original person, the controller of material and spiritual worlds, and that you also worship the Lord who is unattached to the modes. You know everything, and you're the right person to dispel my doubts. And that is why I'm coming to you, Narada. You are all pervasive, like what he's making a comparison here. Like a sun, you travel everywhere. And like the air, you penetrate the internal region of the universe. You are like the all-pervasive super soul, and you witness everything. Therefore, please find this deficiency inside me. Kindly do that. He is now glorifying Narada Muni. So look at it. What is the etiquette we have to learn from this particular episode of Vyasadeva and Narada? Vyasadeva is first glorifying his Narada Muni, and then he is going to ask for him. Yes, since you are such and such person, now kindly tell me what is the reason for why I am feeling despondent or dissatisfied. This is the etiquette that we can learn. And then Narada is now going to describe the importance of glorifying Lord Krishna. This is the theme. So 8 to 22, if you look at the verses, the theme of the verses is that Narada is going to describe the importance of glorifying Lord Krishna. So 8th verse, he's talking about this point specifically. He's saying, you have not sufficiently described the Lord's spotless glories. Philosophy that does not satisfy the Lord's senses is worthless. It's not at all worthy. You have not satisfied Lord's senses. And then he's saying, you have actually overemphasized the Purusharthas, meaning Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha have been overemphasized by you. This is what is the point, and Bhakti has not been glorified. So you have overemphasized these Purusharthas, but not Bhakti. And then, so these are the defects that he points out with regards to Vyasadev's literatures. So the first thing that he points out is that your insufficient glorification of the Lord, and then overemphasis of the Purusha Arthas. And then now we'd be talking about the two categories of literature. So one is the materialistic literature, another is the transcendental literature. So the materialistic literatures, they are devoid of Lord's glories. So what is it compared to? It is considered to be the place of pilgrimage of the crows. Saintly persons, they derive no pleasure from them at all. This is the nature of the materialistic literature. So when it comes to the transcendental literatures, they fully glorify the Lord, and they can create a revolution in the impious lives of misdirected civilization. Even though it is imperfectly composed, they are heard, sung, and accepted by the saintly people. The meaning, so it doesn't matter if it is perfectly composed or imperfectly composed. If it is glorifying the Lord, that is important. That is the point. When there is glorification of the Lord, then what happens? Tushyanticha, Ramanticha, people come together, they hear, they sing, and then they accept it, isn't it? So this is what happens. So now we will be talking about the point that Bhakti is the only valuable asset. So right now we have seen what were the deficiencies that Narada Muni actually pointed out in Vyasadev's literature, and what are the categories of literatures, the two types of literatures being materialistic literatures and transcendental literatures. And now we are going to talk from 12 to 16 about Bhakti is the only valuable asset. So it's very important to note that jnana and karma without bhakti are fruitless. Knowledge of self-realization, though free from material affinity, does not look well if devoid of bhakti. Anything that is devoid of bhakti, it's shrama eva hi kevalam. Okay, if you're not connecting any activity that you do with Lord, then that activity is a waste of endeavor. This is why it's important for us to remember this principle. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So whenever we do activities that are not connected to Krishna, having Krishna in the center, then keep in mind, dear devotees, that suffering is not far away. This is a very important understanding that we must have, and this will go a long way if you understand this particular point, that any activity we do, we have to connect it with Krishna. So that is how Uttama Bhaktas are. Uttama Bhakta, whatever he looks at in this world, he sees it as if it's Krishna or Krishna's energies. This is the vision of a Uttama Bhakta. And that is the vision we have to aim. That should be our goal. How are they able to connect it to Krishna? Because it's spontaneously happening in them. They have trained. Anything that is not possible, train. Abhyas karo. That is what we learned in Bhagavad-Gita, isn't it? Okay, I'm not at that level. No problem, no problem. Come from this level, go elevate. Train. Abhyas karo. This is what Krishna advises. No problem if you're not there. We train ourselves. But we should know the goal. If we don't know the goal, then how are we to train ourselves? That is why it's important for us to know what our goal is. Have that goal. There's only one goal for a devotee. The goal is to eternally perform, have this transcendental relationship with Lord Krishna and eternally perform service to Lord Krishna. This is the only goal a devotee has. There's no other goal. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, ekeha kurunandana, which means there's only one goal. That is the only goal. There's no other goal. No, this goal, I have to get promotion. No, not for a devotee. That's not a goal at all. It distracts you and deviates you. That's all. So it's going to actually make our Krishna conscious journey a little longer in this material world if we were to have many goals. So this is important, dear devotees. And jnana and karma without bhakti is fruitless. So this jnana and karma, without bhakti, it's not going to yield its results. All right, that's the important realization that we have from that purport. And then Vyasadev's qualification as a transcendental author. What are his qualifications? Narada is saying, you're fortunate, you're Mahabhaga, and you have a perfect vision, Amoghadrik. You have spotless fame, Sushi Shravaha. You speak the truth and you're firm with your vows, Dhrida Vrataha. Thus you can think of Lord's pastimes in trance for the liberation of everyone. Very important point, dear devotees. This is not ordinary subject matter. Vyasadeva is actually going into trance. He's meditating and he's able to, everything is the realization that is coming out. He's able to see the pastimes and then he, is able to obviously give it to all of us. So this is not, so people, common people, they call literatures as mythology and things like that, isn't it? So we have to be clear. This is coming from our acharyas and is coming through disciplic succession. And Bhagavatam is a spotless Puran, Amala Puran. Very important. We must have a firm conviction. Whatever comes from our acharyas is a revelation to the acharyas, and it is coming because of their meditative power, because they are all Rupa Manjaris. If you look at our parampara, it is they are all Manjaris from the spiritual world, and they have given us this transcendental knowledge, and this is whom we are receiving it from. So we must have a firm conviction to follow them. Zridavrataha, we have to follow with a firm conviction. When it is coming from our acharyas, even if I don't understand, I must have the faith. Yes, it will work. It is true. It is that much conviction we have to have with the Shastras. Because Shastras are like mother. As I told you, I will not forget this, and you also should not forget this. Shastras are our mother and they guide us in the right direction. So we have to follow Shastras. Now, coming back, descriptions disconnected from the Lord are insubstantial. Whatever is described with a vision separate from that of a Lord simply reacts with different forms and names to agitate the mind like a boat attacked by the wind. So this is just agitating. If you're not having that vision, if you're having that vision which is separate from the Lord, then as I told you, it is not going to give us any good results. It is only going to agitate us. So like that, Vyasadeva, he might say, I mean, obviously, Narada is saying you had descriptions disconnected from the Lord, and that is why you see Mahabharata or any other literature that he did, he did not sufficiently glorify the Lord, and hence they are all insubstantial, he says. And now Vyasadeva, he might say, I have presented material happiness in order to promote the scriptures amongst the materialistic people who don't want bhakti, isn't it? Even for materialistic people to access, I have given them this literature so that those people can, if they don't want bhakti, those people can access this literatures and slowly elevate, isn't it? So like that, Vyasadeva might say. So now for that, there is going to be a response that Narada Muni is going to give us now. You have encouraged the natural enjoying tendency of people by your own instructions. Thus, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions. This is verily condemned. What is the problem here, dear devotees? What is the problem here? The main problem is we spontaneously attracted to sense gratification, isn't it? If Vyasadeva is writing, oh yeah, you can do such and such sense gratificatory activities, following such and such rules, they may ignore the rules and they will follow spontaneously. Oh yeah, Vyasadeva said, yeah, you can do this. Yes, you're right. Vyasadeva said that. So we can definitely do sense gratification. They will omit the rules and they will spontaneously commit to sense gratificatory activities. This is the point Narada Muni is bringing out here. All right. Now he's saying, describe the Lord's activities. Only an expert retired from the material activities deserves to understand the spiritual knowledge. Therefore, you should explain it to the common people through your descriptions of Supreme Lord's activities. This is what you need to do, dear Vyasa. Like that, Narada is advising. Now, he's saying progress in bhakti is credited forever. And for that, he's quoting various points to prove that point. Again, one of the verses, I mean, obviously we have the 17, 18 and 19 that talks about the point that there is no loss even in fall down. If you fall down in bhakti, there is no loss. Why? Because from wherever you fell down, you will come back from that point. You will pick up from that point. All right. So there is no fall down in bhakti. If a person gives up his occupational duties and engages in bhakti, even if he happens to fall down in an immature stage, there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though perfect executing his dharma, does not gain anything. Non-devotee. Without bhakti, nothing works. That's the problem. He follows dharma, but without bhakti, where is the question? Doesn't yield our results, isn't it? All right. So better to endeavor for the rarest. Intelligent people should endeavor only for that which is not obtainable, even by wandering from Brahmaloka down to Patala. Sense enjoyment can be obtained automatically in the course of time, just as in the course of time we obtain miseries without desiring. So this proves the point that better to endeavor for the rarest, which is bhakti. The results of the bhakti, are they temporary or permanent? They are permanent. That is the next point. Even if a devotee falls down, he does not undergo material existence like others, because once he has relished the taste of Lord Mukunda's lotus feet, he will remember that ecstasy again and again and again. This is the point, very important point, dear devotees. You fall down, but in the course of time, suddenly you go somewhere and some fragrance comes, and then you start remembering Lord Mukunda. Yes, this is the fragrance. This is what I used to smell. You know, after Lord's lotus feet, this fragrant oil is applied, and I'm able to now sense the smell. Even though I'm not in the temple, I'm able to sense the smell. So this remembrance of Lord comes to us again and again and again. Even for a devotee who has fallen down, meaning he's now not in the path of devotion, but somehow these thoughts daunt him over and over and over. This is the mercy of Krishna. Okay, so he wants us to come to him all the time. I mean, he is eagerly looking, and only we are, pushing it this side and that side by committing offenses and sins and things like that. We are not able to progress as much fast as we would expect it to be. It is our blunder. But Krishna is eagerly waiting for us. We should definitely understand these thoughts. The remembrance in the thoughts comes because of his mercy, isn't it? So these thoughts, even though you've fallen down and deviated from the path of Krishna consciousness, the thoughts of interaction with the devotees, the thoughts of fragrance flowers, some remembering Lord's lotus face, lotus eyes. So all this will definitely daunt a devotee. Okay, very important point. So that's why the results of bhakti are permanent. And then now 20 to 22, Narada is instructing Vyasadeva now. What is he saying? So he's actually saying, so describe the pastimes of the Lord more vividly. Since you have the perfect vision, you know the Lord, and you also you know the Lord being his plenary portion, and you appear for the well-being of all people, and you have to be the one to describe Lord's pastimes more vividly. And now the conclusion of the learned circles is that the infallible purpose of everyone's austerity, Vedic study, sacrifice, chanting of the hymns, and charity culminates in glorifying the qualities of the Lord. The end point is glorification of the Lord. That is important. The only cause of pure bhakti is the mercy of the devotees. A very important point, dear devotees. It is not austerity or any other processes. And now, to illustrate this point, Narada Muni is going to describe his previous birth. To illustrate what point? To illustrate the point that the only cause of what? The only cause of pure bhakti is the mercy of devotees. You and I are into Krishna conscious movement because of whom? Because of mercy of devotees, isn't it? Because you and I came in contact with a devotee, we are into this movement. So it is due to the causeless mercy of the devotees that we are into this process of Krishna consciousness, and that is going to be illustrated from 23 to 31. Very important section where Narada Muni is narrating his previous life. So now we are going to talk about his birth. In the last millennium, I was born as a son of a maidservant, and I engaged in the service of the Bhakti Vedantas during the 4 months of the rainy season. And then now he's saying the impartial Bhakti Vedantas bestowed their mercy or kripa upon me. Thus, although I was a boy, I developed sense control, gave up childish sports, became obedient, and was not naughty or talkative. So now we need to understand there is 2 types of mercy. One is conditional mercy, another is unconditional mercy. And we need to understand the difference between conditional mercy and unconditional mercy. So if you look at the materialistic people, they show mercy, isn't it? If the qualities are, obviously, if our qualities are not great, if I'm showing very bad qualities, then I can't expect mercy from them, isn't it? If I behave very rudely and if I don't behave in a way that they would expect, then I'm not going to get mercy from them. And they see the bad qualities and they develop hatred. This is what happens as a consequence. This is conditional mercy. And with regards to unconditional mercy, this mercy is causeless and not due to seeing material qualities, not at all. The Bhakti Vedantas, very important point, they first showed mercy on Narada and was not because of his good qualities. No, they didn't see the good qualities in Narada and give him mercy. They gave him mercy first. Because of their equal vision, they gave that mercy first. They showed mercy, and thus Narada, because now he's bestowed mercy, so he's naturally going to develop good qualities. And because of these good qualities, further mercy came. Are you able to understand the cycle? A very important point that we are trying to lay out. So the point that I am bringing, I once again repeat it, it's important to understand. So this is causeless mercy. We always say causeless, isn't it? We need to understand what the distinction is so that we are able to use these terms in our everyday usage. Unconditional mercy. So the first one is conditional and this is unconditional. How it's unconditional? Because mercy is causeless. Okay, and they didn't see, the Bhakti Vedantas did not see the material qualities of Narada Muni, material good qualities of Narada Muni and bestow him mercy. They first gave him mercy, and because of this mercy, good qualities came, and because the good qualities came, further mercy was shown to him. This is the cycle, which is unconditional. So now Narada, he's saying, I got Satam Kripa, Mahat Seva, Shraddha and Guru Pada Shreya. We already saw from 1.2, isn't it? What is the cycle? Satam Kripa. Are you all familiar with these terms, Mahat Seva? Because one thing, if you have to get to this point of Shraddha, what do you need? You need Agyata Sukriti. Agyata Sukriti, everybody knows, right? Where you are developing that favorable attitude towards the devotee. And this is what enables a person to come to this level of Shraddha. A very important point again, if you've forgotten it, you can definitely refresh your memory. So this favoritism can come in any way, meaning, say for example, you're now a non-devotee and what do? You actually, this devotee actually helps you a lot. And because of this, you develop affection towards him. And then when the devotee cooks, you tell him, yes, very good prasadam. Not because it's prasad. You just praise him because of his affection towards you. And this gives you Agyata Sukriti, 1 coin. Like that, your Agyata Sukriti has to keep increasing over and over and over. The piggy bank has to become full. And when the piggy bank becomes full, then you go to Shraddha. Till that point, how much ever you try to get the person into Krishna consciousness, it's not going to be possible because he hasn't got that Agyata Sukriti yet. So our important duty as devotees is, say for example, we may have family members also who are not into Krishna consciousness, isn't it? So first of all, we have to make them favorable towards us. In that process, they will get Agyata Sukriti. This is what a devotee does. All you have to do is let him or her in your family develop that favoritism towards you. And once they develop that favoritism, and then they will start doing some seva to you, they will start praising you. In that way, they will get Agyata Sukriti. Very important point here, devotees, a very, very practical applicatory point that I've just mentioned. So this is again, we have spoken about it in 1.2 already. And this is what leads to Shraddha. And after that, this person, he wants to take Guru Padashraya, shelter of Guru, isn't it? And now this 25th verse is going to talk about Bhajaneshu Spriha, Bhakti, and Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha and Ruchi. So now what is he saying? Narada Muni is saying, I took the remnants with their permission and all my sins were eradicated. And having developed an inclination for Bhakti, being pure in heart, I inevitably developed a taste, that is Ruchi, for hearing and chanting. Again, here it seems very easy, as if Narada immediately got it. But as we all know, Anartha Nivritti is a very long process. It takes lifetimes to get this Anartha Nivritti taken care of. But again, we should not wait. Oh, when will I develop taste? Only after I develop taste, I will start following the process. It's, as we see, Ruchi comes later in the stage. After our anattas are gone, then we get the steadiness in bhakti, isn't it? And after that steadiness of bhakti, that is when we go to Ruchi, which is the taste. Hearing and chanting, you get the taste to the holy name. Because our heart is polluted. How can a polluted heart be able to taste Lord's holy names, which is spiritual? It's not possible, isn't it? The material desires have to be completely taken away from our heart. That is why we are not able to relish. So when we pray to Lord, yes, kindly remove my anarthas, Krishna, because I want to serve you very nicely. And Krishna will then definitely, oh yeah, this is what the devotee wants. Let me fulfill his desire. Yeah, so this is important. So the desire for us to remove these anarthas is important. We have to plead to Krishna, please take away these anarthas. These are obstructing me in this in my process of devotional service. I don't want them in my heart. Please, Krishna, I'm looking for you to remove these anarthas, because all we do is endeavor and then we wait for mercy, isn't it? That is the duty of a devotee. So now, so this is how Narada Muni actually went to the stage of Ruchi. Okay, that is, he took the remnants of the Bhakti Vedantas. Very important, right? Very important to take the remnants of the Mahabhagavats, right? Which is also quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The potent things, one of the potent things is to take the remnants of the Mahabhagavats. Then, with Asakti, I heard the Krishna Katha every day by their mercy. See, look at Narada Muni, how humbly he is saying everything is due to their mercy, because nothing happens with our endeavor. Everything is kripa. Very, very important. Whatever we do, see, the activities we perform, it has to be pleasing to the Lord. And it's very difficult to develop that attitude, because say, for example, you are doing an activity, okay? Even in the temple, you have a temple and you're doing an activity. So you've been working in the temple for long hours, say from 4 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the evening. And what are we looking for? We are looking for appreciation from the fellow devotees. You know what? I did such a hard work. I was there. I was doing all this. Nobody commented. Inside, in your heart, you'll be thinking, nobody commented. Not even one person told me I did a good job. What is this? Somehow this attitude has to go. Somehow, because this Pratishta Asha is something, we will talk about in, Madhurya Kadambini. We'll also talk about it in Manasiksha by Raghunath Das Goswami. This Pratishta Asha has to go away from us. Again, why we want, see, we have somehow come into this bhakti movement and we have achieved something, and now we are looking for appreciation from people. I deserve it, na? See, I deserve it. Naturally, I deserve it. It's not that you should give me, because I deserve it. It's important that reciprocation should happen. And that is the feeling that devotee has, because he has established himself in this process of bhakti. He feels he feels that people should appreciate him because he deserves it. And this is a very, very important, subtle anartha that we would have as we progress in devotional service. And when we become a little advanced, this is what happens to this person, a devotee. And this mentality has to be completely curbed down. Completely, it has to go away. It's not my likes and dislikes anymore. It is Krishna's likes, and Krishna is watching me. Krishna is in my heart. He should be satisfied. If he's satisfied, that's all I hanker, and that's all this is a very elevated stage. Of course, again, as I told you, these things that we are talking about are all a little advanced. But again, we must know the goal, isn't it? How can we know the goal? And if we were to reach the goal, we should know what are all the obstacles that is going to be hindrance to me. Otherwise, that goal cannot be reached. And that is the reason why I'm sharing all these. Okay. And with Ashakti, he's saying in this 26th verse, I attentively heard Krishna Katha day by day by their mercy. As my taste for hearing increased at every step, I developed bhava for Krishna. And now, he's now talking about how he fixed his attention. My attention on the Lord then became uninterrupted. Thus, I directly experienced my gross and subtle bodies created by the Lord's Maya to be fixed only in Him. And then he says, Prema is achieved. During monsoon and autumn, I constantly heard Lord's pure glories from those Bhakti Vedantas. Then I developed Prema, which destroys Rajas and Tamas. Of course, in Nishtha itself, Rajas and Tamas is mostly gone. So that is why Nishtha is the stage of steadiness. Why? Because you are mostly situated in the Sattva Guna. Okay, at the stage of Nishtha, you are situated in Sattva Guna mostly, and mostly this the Tamasic and Rajasic tendencies are gone from you, and that is why you are able to be steady in this process of devotional service. And then you slowly elevate to Ruchi after Nishtha. So Nishtha should be our immediate target. After that, after that, the path everybody says is going to be easy. Till Nishtha, it's difficult. It looks like, at least from that's what I've heard. Anyways, Prema. During the monsoon and autumn, I constantly heard Lord's pure glories from those Bhakti Vedantas. Then I developed Prema. Okay. So this is what are the stages that Narada Muni, why he talked about this, we need to understand. Bhakti is got through the association of devotees. This is the point. Only by the mercy of devotees, we get Bhakti. This is the point Narada Muni was trying to bring out through all these verses by quoting his previous life. The only cause of bhakti is the mercy of devotees. All right. And that is why if you look at the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam, all, look at Prithu Maharaj or look at, Dhruva Maharaj, everybody asks for association of devotees. At any point, even in Prema, they want good association of devotees. Because that is how we'll be able to think and glorify the Lord in an effective way. Okay. Now, Narada's qualities are described. So Narada's qualities, I was attached to the Bhakti Vedantas, I was obedient, I was free from sins, I was faithful, I was self-controlled, I was inclined to serve, and I strictly followed them with body and mind. These are very, very important qualities that has been pointed out here, very important. And I think we can try to meditate on it. As you would have seen in the previous classes in depth what these were the qualities of Narada were actually for us to meditate upon. We can definitely think about it. The sages were kind to the fallen. That is me, Narada is saying. As they were about to depart, they mercifully instructed me the most confidential knowledge of pure bhakti taught by Lord himself. By this knowledge, I could understand the influence of Supreme Creator's Lord Krishna's spiritual and material energies, knowing which one can return to him. So I was bestowed this confidential knowledge by the Bhakti Vedantas. And then now we are going to come to the sequence to understand what is the process of Karma Yoga. Again, as I spoke, I believe I spoke from last class to say that obviously they spoke about the point that our senses can be used in the service of the Lord, which is karma, isn't it? Learned men concluded that the best remedial measure for removing all miseries is to dedicate one's activities to, that is karma, to Lord's service. So how can karma, the cause of samsara, destroy the threefold miseries? See, karma is the cause of samsara. Na? How can it actually destroy the threefold miseries? This might be a question that can come to us, isn't it? That's when 33 and 34 are explained, which brings up to this connecting link to say, a thing when applied therapeutically cures a disease which was caused by the very same thing, like curd and milk. Milk can aggravate, but this taking of curd can definitely subside the aggravation that is caused due to milk. Similarly, the activities that ordinarily cause perpetual bondage, when dedicated to Lord's service, destroy the threefold miseries. So that is akarma. When we start performing akarmic activities, what happens is threefold miseries are gone and you are no longer bound in the samsara. The same activity can be a liberating activity if you connect it to Lord Krishna, which is the point that is being conveyed through this purport. And finally, Narada is teaching the personal mantra. So last 4 verses, that is 37 to 40. Narada is teaching his personal mantra. Let us chant the glories of Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. The actual seer is one who worships Lord Vishnu in the form of transcendental sound. He has no material form. Personal experience. Knowing that I executed his confidential instructions, Lord Krishna bestowed upon me, what all he bestowed upon me? He bestowed upon me that transcendental knowledge. He bestowed upon me Aishwaryam, which is spiritual opulence. And then he gave his intimate loving service. So this is my personal experience. And therefore, that is the reason. See, this is my personal experience, Vyasadeva. I'm able to understand this is what happened in my life, and I'm just saying this to you so that you can understand what the glories of the Lord are. Because what did he give at the end of the day? He gave me transcendental knowledge because I executed his personal instruction, confidential instructions. Krishna, because I executed the personal instructions of him, what did he bestow upon me? He bestowed upon me transcendental knowledge, spiritual opulences, all the siddhis, and then his loving service. So therefore, you have to please describe Lord's glories, which is what is the conclusion of today's class. I mean, this is the verse that I'm supposed to talk on. Therefore, please describe the Lord's glories as they satisfy the hankerings of the learned man and they mitigate the miseries of the common people. So it's going to work out both for learned men and for the common people. How is it going to work out for the learned man? Because learned men are always hankering to know more about the Lord. So it is definitely going to be fulfilling for them. How is it going to work out for the common people? It is going to remove the threefold miseries. Indeed, there is no way to get out of these miseries otherwise. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only way. It is the Amala Puran, and you have to describe Lord's glories through this Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is the way both the learned and the common people can benefit. So, which is what is the conclusion? Again, this is from the book. If you want, we can just see a few things from today's verse. Maybe a little bit I could expand on it since we have time. Or if you have questions, you can go ahead and then I can probably continue the class. However it works for you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. This is a question from yesterday's class. In the purport, it mentions by such pure contact with the Lord without offense of material conceptions, numbering 10, the devotees can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of the Vedic literatures. Mataji, which are these numbering 10?
Yeah, 1 second. 1 second, Mataji. Which one? I mean, it is 1.5.39, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, the second line.
The second line, okay. By such pure contact with the Lord without offense of material conceptions. Oh, the 10 offenses. The 10 offenses to the holy name. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Oh, yes.
If there are no other questions, we can continue with today's verse, Mataji.
Sure. All right. So in today's verse, if you look at it, we are being talked about, you can definitely make a note of this. So 17.15 from Bhagavad-Gita and 17.16 of Bhagavad-Gita is being quoted. So we know 17.16 is Chaturvida Bhajante Mam Jnana Sukritino Arjuna Artho Jignasu Artati Jnani Cha Bharata Sabha. And we learn from Bhagavad-Gita, these are the people who are again 4 kinds of pious men. They begin to render devotional service unto me. And who are they? They are the distressed, they are the desirer of the wealth, they are the inquisitive people, and those who are searching for knowledge of the absolute. So this is one verse. And then if you look at 17.15 Bhagavad-Gita, we also have the other set of people who Prabhupada is talking about in this purport is Namam Dushkritino Muda Prabhatyante Naradama Maya Prakrita Jnana Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among the mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of the demons, they do not surrender to me. So at the end of the day, Srila Prabhupada tries to bring out this contrast to say that these people are going to be benefited by Srimad Bhagavatam, isn't it? So let's go to the purport. And let's just try to understand. So Naradaji advised Vyasadeva to describe the glories of the Lord, just to do good to all these 8 classes of men, both good and bad. Both good and bad. Good means these 4 people, right? Those 4 people that we talked about, those are pious people. The good men, when they are in difficulty, they go to the Lord. When they are in need of anything, money or something, they go to the Lord. And those who are interested, they also go to the Lord. It's going to Srimad Bhagavatam. When you're going to glorify the Lord, it is going to benefit good people. Not only good people, even bad people are going to be benefited. It is for the sincere soul who actually wants his own welfare and peace of mind. Because at the end of the day, the sinful people, if we have examples, isn't it? The sinful people, it's not that they are not going to come to this Bhakti movement. We have example of Mrigari. Mrigari was a hunter. He used to kill animals and leave them. He'll not fully kill the animals, but he'll leave them half killed. And this way he was deriving pleasures. And that time Narada Muni, actually, he came in contact with Narada Muni and his life transformed. So definitely good and bad people are going to be benefited by the association of devotees. There is book Bhagavat and person Bhagavat. So we definitely need to understand that. That's what Srila Prabhupada is trying to convey through his purport by saying good and bad people are going to be benefited. So now let's just look a little bit. So this is what is the theme. I just wanted to complete this theme so that at least you know what is the context that we're talking about. And now we can come back and try to, I'll probably elaborate a little bit for the next 7 minutes or so that you get an understanding. So we need to understand this point that mind is what is pushing us. The desire to enjoy is because the samskaras are there, and desire is caused by the samskaras, some kind of experience of pleasure that we brought from past lives, and we want to repeat the same kind of pleasure. If something has happened in our past lives and we consider it as a pleasure, we want to repeat that same action over and over and over. But what happens now is that there is a conflict, because we know Shastras theoretically, the Shastras say something and my likes are saying something. So there is a conflict between our likes and Shastras. So at the end of the day, there's a tug of war between these two. There's a struggle happening between our material nature and spiritual nature. So although the nature of the person as such is spiritual, he has been brought into this material world for a very long time now, and he's got this material nature. And this material nature is actually resisting this person to fight against the spiritual nature, which is got through to us in the form of Shastras. So the law of spirit is saying something, the law of material nature or flesh is saying something. And that is why the sadhana is needed. The sadhana actually bridges a gap. Sadhana must eventually overcome this material nature of us. Are you able to understand? It's a very important concept. The essence of the sadhanas is to conquer this material nature. So, and make our spiritual nature natural. It must be spontaneous, but now it's not spontaneous because the material energy, the material force is dragging us. Isn't it? There's a tug of war, and because of our conditioning, the conditioning nature is pulling us very much. But sadhana, as we make it intense, more and more intense, then what happens is our spiritual nature will become natural for us. This is the stage we have to come to, dear devotees. As long as we have the material mind and material body, the material energy will influence us, and material energy is going to drag us down. We will be torn apart and we'll be pulled down. But what is happening is that for us to have the spiritual nature become natural to us, more efforts are needed from our side. And as you understand, Krishna looks at our endeavor, and if he feels that endeavor is good enough, he will grant us mercy. So this is very important. We know our goal, we know the process to reach that goal, and we know what is hindering us. We know theoretically what the Shastras are saying. So all these are going to help us reach that goal. So now the point is that if I forget this goal and do everything mechanically, will it be sadhana? No, not really. So sadhana has to have some love and devotion. Even though it's not quite possible, you have to try. That's the only thing. I mean, anything Krishna is asking for, just do it with it. So you can do manmana bhavamat bhakta. Okay, do. But then love and devotion is needed in any activity we do. So sadhana should not be mechanical. We try our best. We try our best. Understanding the glories of Krishna, we try to put a little bit of emotion to the sadhana process. I think with this, I will conclude my lecture for today. I thought the last point that I told you is very important. Please keep that in your mind, dear devotees. And let's reconvene in our next class. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Vancha kalpatarupyasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very much for today's powerful session, because it has got us the essence. Mataji, I'd like to take you again back to 39, in which it says the devotees endowed with mystic opulences, which are 8 in number. Mataji, which 8 are these?
The Ashtasiddhis, they call it Ashtasiddhis, Mataji. The Lagu, Kritu, there is, there is a tendency, there is 8 kind of siddhis a person has. So that is called Ashtasiddhis, and so a person can become the smallest of the smallest, he can become the largest of the largest, like that. There is 8 of them.
Okay, Mataji, thank you so much.
That is what it's being talked about, the siddhis. There are 8 kind of siddhis, like if you want to go into the specifics, there is something called I think anima. I'm not getting the terms. I think anima, lagima, then prapti. That is, anima means you become small, like a very small. Anima siddhi means small like a particle, lighter than even a soft feather, like that is lagima. And if they don't get anything and everything from anywhere and everywhere, that is prapti siddhi. They become the heavier of the heaviest, that is mahima siddhi. And they have the tendency to act freely, create anything freely, create anything wonderful. That is the tendency they have. That's one type of siddhi. That is ishtva siddhi. And then they have a tendency to control all the material elements. That is vasitva siddhi, like that. They have the power, as they'll never be frustrated in any desire. That is prakmya siddhi. And then they have a tendency to assume any shape and form. They just have to desire and they can assume that form. That is kama vaishyata siddhi, like that. This is the capability that a mystic yogis have. The 8 kind of siddhis. It's enough for us to know there are 8 kind of siddhis where you have the tendency, just with your desire, you can become small, you can become heavy, you can become light as a feather, then you can do anything and everything you want. You can create, destroy anything, like that. So this is the potency that is given to them.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. Are there any other questions or comments for today?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for the wonderful class, and then winding up the whole of the 5th chapter of the 1st canto. I was just contemplating on the point you said on the sadhana. Like or the knowledge. Is it sadhana with knowledge, or is just the sadhana alone? What is more important, Mataji?
Sadhana, the thing is, Prabhuji, Shravanam, the 9 limbs of devotional service is what is our sadhana. So when we do the sadhana, what aids in our sadhana is the knowledge through our scriptures. Without that knowledge, we will be lost, because that is how the sahajiyas are, isn't it? They don't have that knowledge, and that is why they do falsely try to imitate the emotions. But when it comes to a devotee has this ashtashatvika vikat, but it's naturally coming to him because of the process that he's followed. And if you look at Shravanam is the first thing. Hearing comes first, isn't it? When you hear, that is hearing from our acharyas, hearing the shabda of the acharyas actually aids. It is the first process in our devotional service. It aids and helps. The Shravanam actually helps Kirtanam like that. So everything builds on top of it. Each one is helping. It's not an independent limb. The Shravanam actually helps us with other limbs as well. So very important for us to hear and imbibe the knowledge that our acharyas have given, because if that is not strong, then we'll be easily bent. Anybody can say something and we'll be taken away by it. Any ideology can corrupt us. So that is why we have to be strong in our strong with what our acharyas are telling us. So if we are strong, nobody can bend us, and we can change people around us as well. This is what I believe, and I strongly believe that shastras are very, very important, and that is what aids the other process as well and makes us to perform the other processes better. Because once we understand the glories, then we will automatically start developing that mood, isn't it? That the mood has to come. Where will it come from? It will come through the hearing process. Otherwise, it will become mechanical. That mechanical sadhana is not going to help us progress in devotional service.
True.
Hope that
Okay,
helps, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Sure,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good to see you after a long time, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Are there any other questions? There are no questions. We can probably end the session today. Are you going, Prabhu? Kindly end the session.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for this wonderful, concluding verse of this chapter. And then you nicely summarized all the verses, and then you took us through all the verses, giving brief summary of all the things what happened in this verse. And it was nice. It's just like a journey in this verse. We traveled with you from first verse to the 40th verse, and then we could concisely understand what it means to go through this verse. Thank you so much, Mataji. I would like to request all the Assembled devotees on behalf of ISKCON Eldorate to unmute and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra once in glorification of Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Patarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Jai. Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.